Hello, my name's Anthony Hall. In this tutorial, I'm just going to show you how to use the paint options in Mudbox and then how to export your modeling and textures into Lightwave 2020. So if I just delete this one I've already got. So I've got this basic quick sculpt of some landscape with some kind of valley in it. And what I want to do is I want to just paint with it. So what I'm going to do is make sure I'm on the paint tab here, right mouse click, new layer, and give it a, I don't know, land one, leave everything else the same, diffuse, that's okay, brings it up. Let's go on the brush, so turn the actual stamp off. So if you're on the brush and you're on, the stamp is off, you're actually spraying whatever whatever colour you're kind of using in here. So when you're using obviously the brush and your stamp's not on, stencil's not on, you're using whatever colour, and obviously this is same as the actual sculpting tools that I did in the introduction to Mudbox sculpting. You're actually using you can use the strength and the size again, so based on how you want to sculpt. You can also add mirroring, so obviously if you paint on one side it's going to paint on the other, and you can do that along different axes and stuff. When you're actually painting, if you want to use a stamp, you simply select one, make sure it's clicked here, and you can start painting. Oops, sorry, wrong one. Make sure that's on, and it starts painting. But obviously it's going to use the colour that you've kind of got it on. So yeah, if you go back to white, what white does is make it its original colour. Unless stamp's off and it'll be white. But yeah, it's not hard at all. So just undo this. And again, you can load your own stamps in, and also if you search, well, you can make any texture. I just go into Photoshop 10 by 10 or 20 by 20 centimeter square, 100 res, and just drag and drop textures in, make my own, find normal textures. Anything could be used for a brush. You just simply go and load one in. So if I add a stamp, I haven't actually got one. Oh, there's a Chelsea football shirt on my desktop. See what that does. Yes, trying it. It's trying. Yeah, so Chelsea Martin Range. If anyone's watching this and thinking Chelsea, what on earth has he got Chelsea on? It's because they're the best team. That's why I'm using Chelsea. But yeah, so you see what I mean. I've just used that and it brought it straight in. So yeah, I mean, if I want to start texturing this as well, same projection. You use the stencils with it, and it projects through the white area. And the whiter it is, it's kind of the darker it goes and stuff. I can't say I use projection. Eyedropper, everyone should know what that is. It's literally selecting the colour you want to select, and it will make it on here and stuff if you want to use it and so on. Airbrush, if everyone's done any airbrushing and stuff before, works kind of same kind of way, you know, but the nozzle's different obviously to using the normal brush. Yeah, so again, these are really obvious what they actually do. A bit like when I did the sculpting introduction. The same or very similar options show up here. So like pencil, it's obvious what a pencil actually is. I can't really say I've ever used this for any reason, but I can imagine if you want to do tiny details or do something, I don't know, you probably can. But again, I've never really used a pencil. Erase, surely people know what that is. You're just erasing that back to the original colour. Clone, so let's just put some oops, I'm using the wrong options here. Let's just put some here. So with clone, it's a bit like in Photoshop where you hold down an option or in this case the control key, and then let go, and then it clones it on the opposite side here. So again, that's the clone tool. Dry brush, so it's exactly what it's done. It's like painting with a kind of a dry brush. So if the brush is dry, you haven't got as much paint on. You've like rubbed a lot of that paint off. So it's you know what I mean. The painting isn't completely dry. There is some moisture to it, but it's very limited, so it's not running, and it's just, again, you can play with the settings here and so on. And then you've got blur. So if I was to do this, go on to blur, and it does exactly what it says. It blurs the colour based on the strength and the size and stuff. You can start blurring it, and you can blur it downwards into each other. So you've got dodge, which kind of sucks the colour out. You've got burn, that's kind of makes it darker. You've got contrast, which enhances the actual colours. You've got sponge, again, which sucks, it's kind of like making it desaturated slightly. Hue, which based on whatever colours you've got here, you can work with and change. And the shift, and then inverse, it just inverts whatever colour you're rubbing on, like so. I mean, I've zipped through that quite quickly, but kind of, yeah, that's what it is. So I mean, with this, let's get rid of this, I'll come back to there. Let's just rub with all this out. So what you've just got to do is, and you can build this up. So if I wanted to say just put some kind of base colour on, just what's this one? Let's say this one. Let's make it the size bigger. So let's say this here. I'm going to do this quick because I want to show you how to take it out of here and put it into Lightweight. So let's just say this is the base colour, which I don't know what it is. I think it's some kind of weird tiger skin or something. So let's imagine that's the base colour, and then I keep getting that error coming up because I imported a ground texture and I've deleted it out of the folder I was using. Now it's saying where is it, that's why. So let's say I want to darken the bit in between like this. So I'm using the actual burn tool. Again, if opposite way, you could just lighten it and so on. I suppose if you wanted to, if we double click if the settings aren't on, you could change the kind of size. You could paint these, I suppose, if you wanted a little bits of snow on the tips. I'm just rubbing the colour out, but you could paint them. It's a bit crude, but I just want to show you what I mean. So on some of these tips, and again, you could use instead of just using the straightforward dodge, you can choose like a stamp to stamp on, so it's not just perfect. You kind of, and so on. And again, I'm not going to do this perfect. I'm rushing it because I want to show you just how to get it kind of through. Again, if you wanted to, you could come up here, add another layer, maybe call it I don't even know what I've called this one, land 2, and then press OK, and then you can start working into this as well. So if you, so let me just go on to here, make sure I'm on the right one. So towards the end or the bottom of the mountains, it could start going green. You can tell I do a lot of landscapes, can't you? So again, you could just make it up how you want it. Take your time. A lot of people use like Wacom tablets for this because they like painting on it and using the pens and stuff, which is quite cool to do stuff like that. So again, nothing amazing. And like I said, I'm not 100% sure. I suppose you could say what I'm doing. So let's say through the middle, you've got like a bit of greyish area where they've kind of over the years, imagine people maybe have walked or a dry riverbed or something like that. But I would always say easiest thing is you save this, but you can actually merge the layers as well. You know, like you said, like in Photoshop, you can merge them down and stuff if you really want to. So yeah, just right mouse click, is it merge visible, so they're all on one layer. if you want. I do, because it's easier when you take it over to Lightwave, because otherwise you've got to play with blending the both layers together. So at this stage I can take this through if I wanted to. I mean, if we just look down here at what we're working on, 178,000 polygons, so I can take it through if you want. You can reduce it, and I'll show you how to do it. The problem is you will lose some of this fine detail, so it kind of depends, but you can also fake it by adding a new layer and doing a bump map, which I'll show you in a second. So let's just go to the select to move, make sure you're on object, and then click and hold for a few seconds to select the object, then go to mesh, and then let's go down to reduce mesh, and then you've got this option here to decide how many. So if I tell I want it to be 50% less, so around 89, so about 90,000. Yeah, you've got the triangular fit, you can decide on that as well, but preserve the frozen, yeah, so I want all that. So let's say I'm going to reduce it by, let's just go for, it's still going to be quite a lot, but let's just reduce it by half and see what happens. So now it's reducing it like so, and then now we've got, yeah, 89,000 whatever. So let's have a look. So we have lost a little bit. Let's just take off the wireframe and have a look. So incidentally as well, when you want, if you hover over these, it tells you about them. So if you want to, you hold for a few seconds to select, you hold control a few seconds to deselect. So again, at this stage, you can work back into it at a low mesh if you want to add that detail back in. So let's, if I want to add some more detail, I mean, we could just make some bits, again, just darken certain areas. Okay, so I mean, if you want to add some more detail in there, I think probably one of the best things to do is maybe if you right mouse click, new layer, let's just call this normal land, and under the channel let's create a normal map and take that in. So I'm just on brush. If I brush over it, it'll create some of the detail better, faking the shadows and stuff like so. I mean, it has to look like snow at all, so I would probably do you know what I mean, probably want to come in and start using just standard light colours off of here to kind of put in the white and stuff, or you can also, I suppose, use a sponge tool, try and suck out some of the colour, and so on and so forth. But yeah, I've kind of babbled on long enough now. I said to myself, yeah, we'll do this tutorial for 5 minutes and it's done, but I'm still babbling. So let's just take it through to Lightwave and see what happens. So let's go to select to move, object, let's select the object, go to file, I'm going to export the selected, saying where do I want to send it. So let's send it here as land free, we'll call it, like so. Okay, and then bottom corner, look, it's exporting. Let's open up Lightwave 2020. So there's a few ways of doing it. You can come and use the IO tab. I'm just gonna I'll show you both. So let me just go to load currently, and we'll just go load object, and let's choose that land free and press OK, and then OK again. So what it does, it comes through like this, which don't look right at all, and that's because in the surface editor it's brought it through as standard. So if we just right mouse click, go down to convert to principal, it's looking better. In fact, snow's looking better actually. Click smoothing on if you want, but I quite like it we have currently. and then in here it shows you how it's lined it up. So don't want luminous, don't need it plugged into there at all. I mean, you've got a base colour, that's the background colour behind this. Do we need that? No. So delete that. And again, so currently what it's doing, it's using this, but I mean, personally, I might spend the time just to go in here and do it as an image instead, because that's what the PBRs use. Yep. Like so. Okay, so that's what I would do personally. Let's have a look what it looks like on VPR. Which, it's not bad. I mean, it's slightly different lighting from the OpenGL in Mudbox. I mean, you could say that you're going to be in here, you're going to start building stuff into it and around and so on. Just turn adaptive sampling off so it's quicker. But that's one way of bringing it in. Let's clear that. The other way is through the I/O exchange. Let's just get rid of the last one. So this is new to our finish. I don't know if it was Lightwave 2019 or 2020. So we'll simply want to read a file. Brings up this. Press File. Choose the FBX. Click all and click what you want. I'm just going to leave it all because I know half this stuff in there anyway. When it comes through, if you click this little cog here, by default this is what you'll get first time you use it. If this is ticked, it will bring it through as a standard material. If you untick it, it'll bring it through as a PBR. But it don't exactly work straightforward like that, so I'll show you what I mean. So once you've done that, you grab the scene for the assets and you pull it over and you get this. So the OpenGL isn't showing it. You have to, if you go onto VPR, it does, and that's because in here, and again, it's got all this you don't really need, and it's using colour. So what you do need to do is I would just delete all that, and again, because it's only a 2-second job, it's just use the image. Yep. And at first I could not figure this out. I was like, what the hell is this all about? And there's your normal map, by the way, because it wasn't showing up, and so I called on a few colleagues, and good old Andrew Combe sorted it out. So yeah, thank you, Andrew. And again, let's just add the normal map. Plug that into normal. There's a normal map. Look, map. So it's added like so. Yeah. Then you can just decide on the other settings and how you want to play with the stuff and that. But that's the general how you get it from Mudbox into Lightwave. It's dead easy, in fact. But again, it's up to you. It works the same way in other software, I'm guessing, as well. You know, just taking it in and stuff like that. I mean, you could even carry on playing with the displacements in here, adding a displacement map and seeing what happens as well. But yeah, so for going from Mudbox into a Lightwave, that's what you do. I mean, when I save it also, I don't know if you noticed in the image editor, it gives you this, which is the like background, the lighting for the background it used in Mudbox. Let's just change that to sRGB. Change that to linear. So you can, if you want, the environment. I'll just turn that off a minute. Let's add a texture environment. Spherical through the Y. like so. So yeah, you could use that. It's a bit over the top, but let's just turn it down. Whoops. It's about there. Turn that back on. And again, it's up to you if you want to use that or not. Or use your own or whatever. But so that's the basics of getting basic painting in Mudbox, but also bringing your sculpt and your textures and plugging them into Lightwave 2020. But like I said, I've done this quite quickly, even though I've gone like 15 minutes over what I was going to do for this tutorial. So again, thanks for listening. Please subscribe and share and check out my new tutorials when they come out.